Hey guys, it's Brittany with Drops of Jupiter Astrology. Thanks for hanging out. We are in full swing of Aquarius. It's a super, super cool energy, and I can't wait to talk about it. Um, Aquarians are the ones that just they don't go with the mainstream, and I think that's why I love them so much because they just break the mold. So let's go with the basis first of Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. Air signs, just a general quality of air signs, they're aloof. Think about air, it just floats around. And that's kind of the quality you get when you have any air sign. They're the people that are holding their cell phone and they're walking around going, "Where's my cell phone? I can't find it. I can't find it. Oh, it's in my hand." They are constantly just forgetting things or being aloof, and that is definitely a quality of Aquarius, but it's also a quality of air. And they are fixed signs. The fixed signs are Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and then, of course, Aquarius. And the other air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The main attributes of fixed signs are they're, in fact, fixed. What I mean by that is they're not that open to just having their mind changed. If you're trying to tell a fixed sign, you're not doing the right thing, with your business or in this relationship, or the way you're doing this with your child, or, a family member could try to give them advice or say, you've got to change the way you're doing this, or a spouse could say, this isn't working, you need to change this. They will literally not change. Stubbornness is definitely a quality of fixed signs. The only thing that gets a fixed sign to genuinely change their stance on something on their own is real life experience. Is saying, uh-oh, she left me or he left me, and now I'm heartbroken, and now I can see what I did was wrong. Or I should have, approached my child differently, and now they're rebelling. And I was told they were going to rebel, but I didn't want to listen, and now I can see that was right. Now I'm going to change the way I'm going about myself. That is a staple quality of fixed signs. They it's not a bad thing. That might be the more negative attribute of a fixed sign, but the positive of a fixed sign is they are strong in their convictions. They know what they want. They know when they say global warming is real and climate change is real, and here's what I found. I'm strong in my stance, and nobody and nothing is going to change it. And I'm going to be strong in my convictions and get things done. So, that is a positive attribute of a fixed sign, which, is an attribute of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius actual traits or attributes of Aquarius would be that they are really smart. They're genius status. A lot of Aquarians, they're just very smart, book smart. They definitely take to learning, and they're open. They make great astrologers. In fact, astrology is ruled by Aquarius, along with invention and technology. Television is ruled by Aquarius. Things that are just changing out of the mold, inventing. As I said, we are stepping away from the way everything has been done in the past, and we're going to make a new way, break the mold, and start anew. is a very Aquarian proposition. You know, we are in the Aquarian age. Um, they One of the greatest gifts for an Aquarian is to get away from the mainstream. You know, they love to be quirky people that have their own set of values and ideals and break out of that box and make their own way. So to get away from the mainstream and not stand in perfect little lines with our perfect little outfits and, you know, say the perfect little things, but to break away and wear crazy outfits and change our hair up and do things differently than they've been done, but in a progressive way. It's not in a destructive way. Um, it's it's in it's in the greater good of change and opening minds. A lot of times, Aquarians feel really separate from the group because they are different, because they're not trying to fit in. They're trying to stand out, and they like to stand out. But in doing that, it separates them from the mainstream. It separates them from, you know, the mass majority. So they, you know, because they're eccentric, and it makes them not fit in. It makes them stand out. And so in that regard, you know, a lot of Aquarians can feel lonely at the same time that they do feel really good about their eccentric nature. Um, the other part of Aquarians are they're really good at creating community, you know, and they're really good at starting their own tribe and their own movement. And generally, they go one or two different ways. You know, they're really good at creating community and networking. Networking is another really staple piece of Aquarius. You know, they're air signs, they're talking, but they're networking. Um, I think that Aquarians are really wonderful for pulling people into a new kind of ideal system. And if they're not that type of Aquarian, because there are two types of Aquarians that, you know, they're good at creating community and they're good at finding their tribe. But then there's the other, you know, the other extreme, because that's just how things are done. It's one way or the other, right? There's one extreme or the other. And the other extreme for Aquarian energy is they're just very attached. They're very discouraged. They don't feel that they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. And, you know, they hide away and they don't talk and they smother themselves. So that is Aquarius energy at its worst. And the way to get it healthy again is to, you know, try to begin searching into one's self and what they truly find important to them, and then find those individuals that will feed that positive message that they want to send to the world. Aquarians, their sign, you know, their glyph is the water bear. And, you know, one would think, why isn't Aquarius an air sign? They're pouring water on all of humanity. How beautiful, right? You know? But the problem is that Aquarians become detached and they don't do emotions that great. Not unlike Capricorn, but for a different reason. They are pouring water and they are trying to enlighten all of humanity. But at the same time, they can't feel the emotion because they are so detached and so unpredictable and so aloof and scattered that it's very hard for them, you know, to attach to something because they're just all over the place. So, you know, for an Aquarian, it's really important to come back to grounding and, you know, coming back to the earth and coming back to finding center, and meditate. Understand that what you're giving to the world is also what you should be receiving, and you know, really tap into the honest, intellectual, future oriented Aquarian spirit, but also be able to feel the emotional power behind what Aquarians bring to the table. You need to be aware of what you bring to the table because it's so powerful and it's so wonderful. And you may feel like you're separate, but the best of us do. The ones that are really bringing something to the table, a new idea, a new way of looking at something. Those people always feel separate. And if we understand that and we put some compassion in there and say, hey, you know what? I am doing great, and I do have these wonderful qualities. I need to be able to sit down and cultivate some water for myself, and tap into the emotion that I'm giving out. Aquarius individuals are honest. They're honest people. They are friendly people. They're original. They're rebellious because they are trying to break out of that mold. They're high strung because they're trying to break out of that mold and be separate. They're individuals. They're individualistic beings. They want to be of their own. They don't want to have this feeling of, okay, well, everybody's doing this and I'm supposed to too. There's no supposed to in an Aquarian vocabulary. And that's why Aquarius is just such a revitalizing sign for the government. The Uranus, the planet Uranus, rules Aquarius, and Uranus is that planet of change and transformation and freedom. We can't forget that Aquarians want freedom, and it is so revitalizing to think that pretty soon these kids that were born in the 90s that had a gobbledygook of planets in Aquarius are going to come into our government with this new progressive idea, this inclusive idea of saying, we're going to be different and set ourselves apart. We're still individuals, but we're going to do things differently. We're going to be a little bit unpredictable. We're going to be a little detached. We're going to be stubborn, but we're going to be future oriented, logical, and honest. And we are going to make sure that it's inclusive to everyone. And we're going to form a tribe and, make everyone feel like they're a part of something, but they're still their own person. And that idea, when you pair that with government, and the idea of, having a bunch of people coming together to, make a movement like that, to get out of the box of the polarities of parties and such. Aquarius, that time in the world when these Aquarian children take over the government, I'm interested to see how the world changes and how doors open and views change. That's definitely what Aquarians are sent here to do in this life. If you have Saturn in Aquarius, you're going to find that, you're sent here to find your tribe and be really good at starting your community, starting your movement, being detached from the group, and finding that purpose, finding that message that you want to send to the world, sticking to it, finding your tribe to help you back it up, and move forward with it and not care about what other people think. That's an Aquarian life lesson you've incarnated into your body. You've been given this wonderful life and body to fulfill that promise that you're going to take something that's broken or too rigid or too set in its ways, and you're going to blow it open and change it and make it into a beautiful blossoming flower. And I can't think of anything that's more wonderful than that. As long as we do it with love and compassion and we don't do it with hate, it's a really beautiful energy to possess in your chart, and it's a beautiful energy to share with the world. So if you are an Aquarian this month, happy birthday, and embrace your beautiful Aquarian quirks. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and be beautiful and kind to all that come in contact with you, and never